You're very welcome to the Salvation Show. I'm Paddy Mac.
Sean McEnany.
Alvaro Lucchese.
And we have a couple of guests. We'll let you know about them very, very shortly, but they're here. You can see them. And they're known as a band called OSIRIS. Welcome, lads.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, lads. Looking forward to hearing you later on after this.
Yeah. We've all the gears there. We set it up for the musicians. Have you a drummer? Are you the drummer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you're the musicians.
For the benefit of the lads, tell us your name and your position in the band. What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Dylan, or Nip, and I'm the guitar player, number one.
Yeah, I'm Cabbage, or Kyle. I play the bass.
I'm Ciaran, I play the guitar, number one, don't mind him.
I'm Jack, and I'm the singer.
I'm Jamie, and I'm the drummer.
Is there no bass player?
He plays the bass.
Why is it? I thought you had Cabbage. Well, I'm Paddy Mac, and I'm a Cabbage Patch doll. Anyway, you're very welcome, lads. I believe. How long are you together?
Just over a year.
Yeah, just
or
under a
coming
year.
up to a year.
I think it's less than a year.
It was March
It's
last
a
year.
year this month, definitely.
Yeah.
And you're all Dundalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, all.
Well done, lads.
And who would be your influence? Starting off with Cabbage.
Oh, like everything realistically. I listen to a lot of types of music. I'd say kind of classic, like 70s kind of rock, your Led Zeppelin kind of stuff. Be kind of main influence in terms of playing music. But whenever I'm sitting listening leisurely, listen to like a lot of soul and R&B music. That would
Dylan,
kind of be.
That's funk. Well, like I've been kind of the same as him. I listen to a whole variety of music.
you live together, no?
No.
I wish.
He wishes. Yeah, I kind of listen to a bit of everything. I'm into more like rock and grunge, kind of Nirvana, like Queens of the Stone Age, Pearl Jam, stuff like that.
I actually know, I'm not nodding because I'm being polite. I actually know this. I'm really surprised, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Like, fuck.
What about the bass guitar player?
I play regular guitar.
Oh, do you? They call that rhythm.
Yeah. There you go. I'd say like Rory Gallagher.
Yeah, boy, yeah.
That kind of bluesy side of things, Angus Young and all of that kind of stuff. And then I suppose as far as rhythm guitar playing goes, it'd be like James Hetfield from Metallica and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What was yourself?
Dad always was a big country head, so I always had the country singing, so I tend to do a bit more I did trad as well, so the ornamentation comes in whenever I'm singing. I do that more.
Is your dad a musician?
Yeah, it would have been trad.
Who?
Played banjo with his brothers and sisters.
What's his name?
Gary Conway.
He
related to, Zoe.
Zoe, yeah.
Zoe
No,
Conway,
Gary, yeah.
Yeah, all relations.
Very musical family.
And apart from selling spuds, what would you...
Well, then Dylan introduced me to Nirvana, and that's one on the rock side.
Your fault, Nip.
Yeah. I got into the Beatles, really. Uncle had a whole collection of all the records, so I got hold of that.
Yeah.
And
Now we're talking.
went through that. It was unbelievable, so that just took it all away.
Well done, lads.
No, that's a musician. What about the drummer?
Well, I same as the rest of the boys. Like my range of music that I listen to goes for miles. But I'd say mainly it would be like Led Zeppelin. As far as like drumming goes, there's no one better to go to than John Bonham for me, or like Ginger Baker, Keith Moon. There's so many names on that list, but I just mainly 70s rock, I'd say, and then and if you play me a tune and I like it, I listen to it. Like my dad used to listen to like a lot of Bob Marley and house music. I'm really into techno, still am, and I really love reggae music. Well, I really like Bob Marley. I've never actually looked into reggae music, but other than that, yeah.
Like
and
Bob
then
Marley.
I love Bob Marley. But my uncle Connor, shout out to my uncle Connor, he was really the one to introduce me to the proper side of music.
But when you think about what is the age range between you all? What ages?
18.
I'm the oldest, but I'm only the oldest by like
18 and a half. Yeah.
Turned 19 this month.
But it's unbelievable. You're after mentioning people that we grew up with. It's not one of you mentioned Westlife.
No, that's like
or the Spice Girls. Or
Don't be knocking pop.
Listen, Spice Girls now. Spice Girls have a couple of songs.
I'm a Destiny's Child, man.
Now that you mentioned Westlife, I was at a pub with my uncle and his mate, and he told me that on digital platforms, Westlife have sold more records than the Beatles.
Yeah, but that
That's like a fact.
but you see, there's a difference in the Beatles and Westlife.
Why?
The Beatles,
yeah.
What's that?
There's a slight difference. Like,
the Beatles actually wrote the songs and played them. And Milli Vanilli.
So, lad, what's the long-term ambition from when you're starting from here?
This is
now?
it.
Rich and famous and
you-
living in mansions.
Oh, good.
Definitely not that.
We're probably really going to push on
Listen,
over
if
it,
it
yeah.
comes, you know.
If it comes,
I'm not aiming to
You know, the answer there is you want to share your God-given talent with the people out there because they deserve it.
Well, I definitely wouldn't call mine a God-given talent at all.
I disagree.
Don't sell yourself short now.
This man's a little over a year old. I'm only in it about 9 months or so. Wasn't playing originally, just because I'd never played an instrument before that. But
Really?
learn the bass to be in the band.
We told him how to play on a right-handed bass.
I'm a lefty, and this fella Nip, he's been saying to me since I've known him now about 5 years, and it's always been about music. It's always been about like doing something with music anyway. And he's always trying to teach me the guitar and all that, but teaching me right-handed just didn't really work out. He started trying to teach me then as well. But then eventually I was like, yeah, fuck it, I want to pick up the bass and I want to actually learn how to do it because I'd love to play music.
But you play left-handed, right?
Yes.
You haven't retrained. You're
And what-
left-handed, yeah.
Left-handed, yeah.
And what bass do you use?
I use an Encore bass. It's nice. It's a real punchy kind of sound.
Well, I was hoping that you were right-handed. I have one for sale.
the Jazz Master, wasn't it? Was it the Jazz Master? I was watching the live stream of Paddy Goodwin in it, and on about that Jazz Master.
Yeah, I've a friend of jazz. It's an American.
How much are you looking for?
1,800.
1,800.
I bought it for over
Right,
two.
well, then that's just not happening.
Was a right-hander.
Do you see?
We're still waiting.
Nothing about the money.
You restring
Huh?
it? Yeah.
That's what
Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah.
upside down.
And there's a couple of guys. There's a guy from Dundalk that was left-handed, and during not like nowadays that you can pick up a guitar. No. He was in a band, and all the boys are right-handed. He was left-handed, and you couldn't get left-handed guitars then, so he learned it upside down.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best guitar players I've ever heard.
It's tough.
Unbelievable.
It's
Isn't
cool.
it?
It's really.
His name is Paddy Murphy. You know Paddy?
I do, of course, yeah.
Unbelievable guitar, and it's all upside down. And when Paddy came up to play with us a couple of nights, you know when you look over to see what key someone's in, it's very hard to tell. You have to ask him. Oh, you played A. But what do you think of the music scene in Dundalk? Do you think there's enough places?
I think it's booming now.
It's
Like,
booming.
there was a massive.
I mean for a
venue-wise,
5-piece
definitely
band.
not. Definitely not.
I'd
It's
say
not.
There's 2 or 3 spots you can go to.
Where would you say, Ciaran?
You can go to Tolls. And
Is that good?
Tolls is deadly. If you
Tolls
get
is
a
a lot
good
of fun.
night,
being a
Tolls is a
starting
deadly
up
night.
band, yeah.
Yeah, and they book everybody, to be fair.
Yeah, and Tools is very
They're always
open
giving
to
people a
take
chance.
it.
Yeah.
Active.
Then the Spirit Store, and then you can have the Spirit Store is the best spot. If you can get upstairs, the Spirit Store is the best spot. And then you suppose you could, like, there's here and there's a few other spots, Colbit's and that, but it's hard to get like a 5-piece rock band.
Of course it is, yeah.
Courtney's got it. Now, has that got any space?
No.
Courtney's.
It's sort of sewn up with
So,
a couple of bands, and who's Eddie?
well, yeah, indeed. And they are very entertaining. Very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
Come here. So, speaking of venues, how does the fee work out? How do you get paid? Do you take door? Do you take ticket prices?
The way that we did it at the start was that, like, when we were doing pub gigs, they would give us a price then and there to split amongst ourselves, and
Right,
then it'd
okay.
be free entry for people to come in.
All right,
And we
okay.
think that's 100%. But
Okay.
then now that we were doing these past 2 gigs in the Spirit Store, whatever money we make off the ticket sales, we will pay the venue fees off of that. And
Ticket sales.
So
Okay.
yeah, you
Right, okay.
win a ticket sales.
We weren't expecting it to go like that. We got our first Spirit Store gig on 27th of January off a cancellation. I talked to Derek, I think it was after one of our friends, Ricky.
A wonderful Derek.
The wonderful Derek.
It's just, he's like,
Shout out
God,
to Derek.
Derek Turner is one of the best things that's happened in Dundalk, and Dublin's never getting him back. But he's not going back. He's here far too long.
And his father was great for
And
Dundalk
his father
too.
played football for Dundalk.
Did he?
In the
Yeah.
50s and
Yeah.
50s, isn't it?
60s, 50s and 60s.
Yeah, Derek Turner. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but
Value,
got that off cancellation. We were at a Battle of the Bands thing, and he wanted us to be the guest judges and all that. So we did that for him, and Derek just pulled me aside when we were loading in the gear into the elevator, and was like, look, I have a cancellation on the 27th if you want that. And straight away it was a yeah.
And it puts fire under you.
Yeah.
To get it ready.
Yeah.
It's
No,
more
we
like
have to get it
you
ready.
have to galvanize.
Oh, well, that's your practice every day.
I saw you last year for the first time in the RDS representing Louth for the Irish Youth Music Award.
Things have changed.
And then, that was my point.
He can play another note.
And then I saw you most recently, I think, 2 weeks ago in the Spirit Store.
Yeah.
And that journey in those months is just like incredible. And you can see as a group of individuals, as artists, as musicians, just gelling and coming together. And that can only get better, lads. Seriously, it can only get better. Because I saw you, as I say, in the RDS. When was that? Last June?
May.
And then I saw you whenever it was in the Spirit Store. Just well done. And I'm your biggest fan. I really am. And I said to her, okay, go and see these boys. Now I want to ask you one thing though. Osiris, the god of Osiris, the underworld, is it? It's Egyptian, right?
Yeah.
Who picked up that?
Me.
It's a good sound.
And your father, a country singer.
No, I'm really big into mythology. So, but we went through all the gods.
No, we didn't go Norse, we didn't go Celtic.
Went through Greek and Greek. Went through Greek and
That
I
was
was
a
like,
Freudian.
none of
I
these.
really like the ancient stuff.
None of these sound like band names. Went through
Osiris
Norse.
does.
None of them do. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I heard that and it was.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Well, it's a
Fun McCool doesn't have
can be,
it.
yeah.
What he's called Fia McCool.
It's a coincidence.
Don't mention that.
I heard like there's something, but we've had some,
Yeah, it was
some of my friends in
when I was
names.
around your age, I was starting in bands,
And everything was black and white.
and we were trying to think of names, and how to get a crowd. So we called the band Free Beer.
That's brilliant.
And it
Not a
said,
good
it said
idea.
on the poster tonight, free beer.
You're guaranteed a crowd.
Straight there. There was some genius marketing I seen there the other day. I don't know who it was. I think it was Headbutt Crack who advertised something on like it was a wee leaflet, and then the back of it was like a 20-year note. So if it was face down, you'd look at it, you'd be like, holy shit, that's
All right, okay.
There's great gimmicks on names. Well, as you say, it was an Egyptian name,
But it just clips well. Osiris.
but to look at it, it looks like Osiris.
It does look like Osiris.
Yeah, because
The font.
that's when I said.
Might be the font.
Could be.
That's when I sent the message to you. Is how do you pronounce it? And you broke it up. Because I was going to say this is Osiris.
So when is your next gig, lads? When do you?
We've Paddy's there.
Paddy's there.
Where were you?
John Long's and Cooley.
Yeah.
If you're up that direction, lads, this man.
Why am I thinking Chicken Wire and the Blues Brothers?
It is.
Remember that scene? That's what I'm thinking.
Rohan.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing, yeah.
Well, I'm somewhere else. Where am I? Paddy's night.
You know.
No, I'm here this Saturday night, but I'm down the street.
When's Paddy's? Friday.
Friday.
I should be on a float dressed as St. Patrick.
Really?
Flinging jellied snakes at the chiller.
That is nice.
Oh,
Because I'm going to get a beer trim today to Ramona. I went, I can't.
no, you can get it dyed.
No, I can't. No, I'll leave it on. I'll get a cut afterwards. But what was I going to say to you? Now, I know it's a very difficult leading question, and a lot of musicians are asked this. Who or what do you sound like? Now, if on a bump, like if you were saying, well, our music is this, we sound like this. And I know it's an awful question to ask somebody. But I've just asked the fuck his answers. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one thing that came up a lot with Jack's voice.
What was it?
One thing. It was some of that for a while. But one thing that came up with Jack's voice was that people said he kind of a whoosier kind of sound in his voice, and that was something that people kept saying it, and it was like I started to see it. Then
That was
after a
when
while.
you used to.
That was when,
It was just
us,
me and acoustic guitar, and he was singing, and then it was kind
So-
of had that vibe to it. But then, of course, we adapted it, and now people are saying it's a mixture of
Well, for me,
stuff. Yeah.
we have a 60s vibe. The whole thing, for me, has got
where we want to be.
has got a 60s. And then when I saw the poster, we were talking earlier on about how do you pronounce Osiris.
Yeah.
And I saw the poster. And even the graphic sort of pertains to the vibe you're after.
Yeah.
Like the zombies or
Small faces.
small faces, yeah. But when I heard Jack sing for the first time, it was like, holy mother of God. Seriously, it was like, this boy can sing. I mean, he's got a really good range. Have you heard him yet?
No, I haven't.
Listen.
Oh, I have. Yeah.
But I intend to, you know.
But it's
Heard
like,
him on the radio.
but have a listen to Collective. But the voice, yeah. But his voice. So it's like, do you remember Paul Jones from Manfred Mann?
Yes, yeah.
And that quality of voice. And then the Walker Brothers.
Oh, yeah, Scott Walker.
Absolutely. And and then he supported with these guys brilliantly.
That reminds me of the story of Lord Rest and Jimmy Mackin. It was a band in Dundalk called the Paragon 7.
You've heard of show bands.
Show band.
Show bands.
And they were over in Germany, but they had a bit of a crash. And a few of the boys were in hospital. And Jimmy went down the stage with a big plaster Paris. And all the crowd got mad. He says, but before he finished, I'm going to introduce you now to the Walker Brothers. He takes out 2 bottles of whiskey.
We need to do something.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think it was our first gig, our first ever gig. We were doing a competition in the Spirit Store to go at the RDS. That was what the competition was. And my uncle said that Jack sounded a lot like Jim Morrison from The Doors.
There is that vibe too.
Which is not a bad compliment at all.
Definitely. But is he not dead?
Yeah, he's dead, but he was a genius.
Enchantress, I think that number
Tell me this.
exemplifies what your uncle said about Jack's voice.
Why do you think that Jim Morrison was a genius?
I think he was a genius for the fact that he started a whole new age of rock. Because when I listened to The Doors, I was like, oh yeah, 70s rock, but it was in the 60s. Like it was in the 60s.
He was seminal. He did pioneer a lot of stuff.
And he was, I wouldn't say he invented it, but he was a pioneer of that movement, definitely.
Nobody invents. They just embellish and bring something to themselves.
But it changes.
Like Janis Joplin, a white girl from Texas, sounding like every black performer before
and
with
Elvis.
Spirit.
And
Elvis. But Elvis came from black spiritual music. What was her name? Sister?
Who's at the top?
Exactly.
See,
Chin Chin.
they're telling us that, and we're older than that.
Yeah, it was his family. His mom and dad. His mom was really poor, and their dad was gone to jail, so they had to move into like the ghetto neighborhoods. And like he heard this, I can't remember. Elvis, but I can't remember what the guitarist was, but he could hear him from this building, and he snuck in to hear him play, and he couldn't believe what it made him feel. Yeah, and like. I know like a lot of when he was coming up, they didn't play his records because they thought he was black.
They actually did, yeah. It was the same.
There's seminal moments in. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know whether I will or not. I don't know whether I'll bother. But there are seminal moments in music where people just stop and go, "That's a very new sound."
Yeah.
Do you recall? Do you recall that in the 50s when you heard Elvis first?
Of course I did.
Or Gene, Jerry Lewis.
Yes.
When you heard rock and roll played, particularly an Irish radio in the 50s, where it was Angelus and Mass, but when you finally broke through and you heard rock and roll, Pat McKeown, a friend of mine, he remembers playing, he's 73 now, Pat, he remembers playing on his bike on Dublin Street. And the radio played Elvis Presley and people stopped.
Yeah.
People stopped and went, what the fuck is that? Because it was completely brand new.
Yeah, brand new is right, yeah.
Not just in, it was fairly new in America, but to the Irish ear, to the European, the English ear, the European ear, he remembers people stopped. And to have a seminal moment like that in music is what you want to create, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what you want.
I guess kind of what everybody's kind of aiming for.
There's a lot of music.
Absolutely.
A lot of music.
So when you break through, or when you hit the ear, the national ear, fair play.
But you see, it's a lot different than when I was young in bands. There was opportunities in them days because you play. I know you played all the stuff that was out in the charts and all that, but nowadays I think there's more pressure on musicians. You have to be that, like, well, musicians will think we have to be better than this, but if you just be yourself. And because you have something, it's like the Beatles. The Beatles, it's something. The Rolling Stones, it's something. I always thought the Beatles were better than the Rolling Stones.
Very different.
That's a debate that we had. I was having this argument with
very different.
Outside our last gig.
Very different.
Yeah, it's amazing. To me,
very different. Very different bands.
It's very different, but there was something about it. Maybe
there's similar music.
Yeah, but you can't say, which is better.
But does
does longevity factor in? The
Well, of
Rolling
course
Stones
it does.
versus the Beatles.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
The Beatles still could be touring now and they still would be selling out arenas.
Oh,
They
don't get me
because
wrong.
they've done it.
Just
They've been the
Just a back
band of all
Canada.
time, so they
But
just stopped.
But in the 10 years they were together, you go through their albums and their transition in music, their journey in music,
It was,
which reflects culture and society, is amazing for the Beatles.
But it has all come back today because
There's nothing new.
Mick
Everything comes back.
Mick
right.
Jagger,
Keith Richards, Ringo Starr, and Paul McCartney are going to make an album together.
Very good.
What?
Is this a joke?
No, it's not. No,
I was waiting for a punchline.
no. There was somebody put up a joke and said that you don't have a guitar player or a singer, but we have a singer. No, you don't have a drummer. The Rolling Stones didn't have a drummer or a bass player because your man Bill Mayo, he died, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we have the drummer and the bass player, so they're going to do something together.
That's class.
It'll be fantastic. But I wouldn't have been. I still
can't go back to the argument which is better, the Stones or the Beatles. It's just two different. Like fucking which is better, Blancmange or Quiche? It's just it doesn't.
Well,
What did they say?
Whom?
Blancmange. Is that you want
But when
Debbie
you have,
Harry?
when you have the like of the Rolling Stones, these white middle class boys from South England singing the raunchiest blues they could grab from America.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have these really good songwriters from Liverpool and that whole Merseybeat thing that they were above. They weren't Cilla Black or Jerry and the Pacemakers. They were above all that.
Right, I'll show you. There's only one band. The Eagles.
You took off his shirt.
Will you see this? The Rolling
There's only one tetanus injection.
There's only one band, the Eagles, and one
Right, discuss.
football team.
Do you all know who the Eagles are?
Right.
Okay. Now, there's your motion. This is going to be a debate. Defend your point. Discuss.
Defend my point. First of all, the Eagles came out. Right, Debbie, will you
Of
find
eggs.
that? There, near my ear. Am I near it?
Watch it stretch. We need DP. Go on.
Yeah, in 1970, Linda Ronstadt had a band.
Oh, you know Linda Ronstadt?
You have to.
Get to her music. Listen to
I
her.
think so.
Linda
I've heard her name, but I
Ronstadt.
don't think I've listened.
She had
Google.
she had a band, and they were back, and she fantastic.
What are they called?
Linda Ronstadt's band.
No, something.
But,
Go on.
There's you told that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fuck it.
the boys were talking
Okay,
one
Lala.
day, and they decided we're going to go on our own, and they hadn't the nerve to tell her. And anyway, they took up the courage and they said, Linda, we're thinking of going on our own. She says, you took your time. I was waiting for you to come. And that was 1970. It is 2023. And they're still making
touring.
hits.
Yeah.
Still making hits. They're just unbelievable. Unfortunately, one of them died.
Yeah.
And then a few of them left.
Joe Walsh came back though. He tours with them still.
Well, Joe replaced Bernie Leadon. He's Bernie Leadon. There was Bernie Leadon.
To be honest, that's all I knew. I knew
Bernie Leadon, Mandy Rising.
See, that's how you win powers. Starting a conversation with a Frenchman.
Yeah.
Bonjour, je voudrais.
But there was I remember playing in a band. There was four of us in it.
What were you called?
We were called Grass.
Why?
right.
Were you stoned?
Yeah.
Why are you called Grass?
Because we used to practice.
Because you couldn't spell hash.
Couldn't
marijuana.
Couldn't spell marijuana. We were,
2 J's.
we were I'll tell you there was myself, Pat McCardle, who's in Canada at the moment, the late Mickey Mulholland, and Tony O'Hagan.
Oh.
And
I can't visualize that.
Now,
Can you?
I can.
it was we used to do a lot of the Four Seasons
Because I
stuff and all
can
that.
that until camera.
And I'll
Go ahead.
never forget this. We were rehearsing in the house in Father Murray Park. Yeah. Well, Pat McCardle, Pat had always the gear, so we thought we were great. And we were out deciding one day to take a break from rehearsing, and we went out to cut the grass. And we were just cutting the grass, and the boys says, should we call it grass? I said, right.
How original is that?
Yeah.
How original.
Listen, that's a good story. It's wonderful.
Me and Jamie
Thank
actually
God
had
we
a
weren't
race.
having a shit. But then, while cutting the grass, a gentleman next door, Paddy McAlevey, came out with this big white album. It was all vinyl in them days. And he says, you got to hear this man.
What
and
was it?
I says, oh, and we went down and listened to them. And the first song that I heard, I played it, I might even play it in the morning. It was a song called 21. And it was
Sweet.
it was the Eagles.
The Eagles.
And from that day to this, that was it. I still have the albums at home. I've all the DVD. I've no fucking DVD player.
Well, you're not telling me you had a single and you had no record player.
Yeah, I know that was it in Fatima.
Oh, that's a different
So
story.
you didn't have a record player, but you bought a single and you went to your mate's house and did that 7 times sister.
That did happen in Fatima. There was a fella bought a 45 single, no record player. And he went round to a guy, opened the window, and played it.
Oh, simple days.
But
tell you, sorry.
Go on. No,
I just want to link the boys in that a story about a title or a name of a band.
Speaking about band names, like when you're cutting the grass, you go, should we call it grass? When it was me, Jack, and Dylan before Osiris, this was like, what, 2021?
Yeah.
In the summer of 2021, we were...
Great name for a song.
And we were like, oh, what should we call it? And I think we had ordered a McDonald's, and I jokingly put down in the comments, oh, can we get chopsticks with that? Like, jokingly, for whatever reason.
Just to see.
And we were like looking around the room. We were like, oh, what? Like, we'll find something in this room to call us. And then we looked around, and then and then Dylan looked at the receipt and was like, oh yeah, can we get extra chopsticks and laugh? And I was like,
That's it.
I was like, chopsticks, and then literally all it took was like 10 minutes. I'd be like, oh my god, to be like, oh no.
That's a shy name.
But to be a great promo video on that, you could have the guy playing chopsticks. You ever hear it on the piano and someone says, "No, that's not the chopsticks. That's the chopsticks." But the best way to find a name for a band is in the horse racing section of a paper.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's good advice, actually.
I was playing with Nijinsky for 2 years.
Anyone know the red
Or
rum?
Arkle.
Indeed.
Yeah, but a lot of people used to make up great. I remember someone saying years ago, we called the band Red Rose and we could wear red roses. None of us could play.
No. For the benefit of the listening and viewing audience and us present, give us all the bands you were in the titles and let's discuss band titles.
I started off in where the Queen's Hotel is up there, myself and Dermy Murphy, with a band called Image 2.
Why? What happened to one?
There was only Image, there was 2 of us.
Oh, that's good. Take a second.
Image 2. Right, go on.
Then the 3 was in the same class of school. I was thrown out for...
We call dunces.
I was thrown out for singing out of key. Oh. Yeah. Still doing it at the moment.
You cover you cover it beautifully.
So myself and Dermy was learning the guitar and I was learning it, and Mickey Mulholland was the drummer with the De La Salle Boys band. And he'd no drums. And Benny Ralph, you know Benny from Fatima, Benny had a set of pearl drums which are very expensive now. And Benny had them and he says, I'm selling these drums, and Mickey bought them for a $5. A full
$5 then.
What was the band called?
Christ.
Image. No, New Image.
So Image 2 and then New Image. Why was it called?
That's a 3 out of
Why was it called New Image, Paddy?
Because there was 3 of us now.
That's like Yardbirds and then the new Yardbirds.
Yeah. Or it's like the Small Faces. And then your man Steve Marriott, when he died, Rod Stewart joined them. And Rod Stewart said we have to change the name because he was taller than the rest of them. And they can't call it the Small Faces. And him walking in over everything.
So what were the New Faces?
New Faces.
It's like the sweet
Faces.
Just face, and then the sweet became sweet.
Yeah. Because they were living over a sweet shop.
Shut up. Will you? Are you serious?
No.
You're lying, bro. I'm not. What was your next band? Go and tell us all.
I was walking up to it, and then I joined a band called New Revival.
Why haven't you been in the one yet that's just the revival or just Image?
No, it was called New Revival. It was reviving all the I wouldn't mind it was in the 70s. We were playing
and I saw the promo pictures.
Yeah, and
match and white flares. They were fabulous.
Oh, we were
write that down. And what was that? Is that the one with the 40s like that? You're that one.
Yeah. Yeah. But we were playing playing lots of gigs around the place. We'd done an awful lot of the 70s stuff, but when
did you travel? What band was you started traveling nationally? and then over to England.
I was sitting in my mother's one day, and this fella called to the door and he says, "We want you to join the band." And I said, I was only after learning the bass because there was no bass players about. And he said, "We want you to join the band." And I says, "Oh," he says, "the wages are £35 a week."
What year was this?
1972.
35 a week?
Yeah.
Fucking huge money.
It was great. I was only getting 4 in the factory.
Yeah. Your standard wages for a married man with 3 kids is what? £8 a week? 35?
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
reason why they couldn't pay me anymore was that the band was finishing up, but they had to pay the manager for a van that we got.
So what did they want you for the end of contract? There was gigs to be
all over Ireland and everywhere. And they were called Guys and Dolls. And it was Eamon McKevitt, Paul McCormick from Fatima, Cora Turner was one of the girls, Cara Wallace, who died, she was one of the girls.
The girl we met in the bus that time going back.
Yeah. And then I was the bass player. And we travelled everywhere. We were in the same management as Horslips.
But were there more venues then, Paddy? There were more venues to play nationally.
Play everywhere. You know,
they go to the country. Or?
Oh yeah. I actually talking to a fella I hadn't seen in years, and I says, "No," he says, "the last time I seen you was in the Hilton in Cork in '74." He says, "You're shrinking."
And you come back that night, wouldn't you? I mean, we no staying over.
Oh no, yes, we
on
were,
the road. Back
we were
on
going
the road
one
again.
day to play in Youghal, and we were heading down. Now there was no motorways. There was boring
country roads down there.
Country
That time,
roads.
yeah.
But we were going down. We heard this big smack, and the van just slowly stopped, and it stopped at a garage and a pub. Right across.
Terribly convenient.
But unfortunately, in 73, 74, Sunday was the Sabbath.
The holy hour. It was closed.
It was closed.
Yeah.
Closed.
Everything was closed.
No
So
need for that now.
we stopped there and we went into the pub. The one was open at 2 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock in the day. She let us in. We asked could we use the phone, and we rang. I think we were in Tipperary or something. We rang Fatima to Paul McCormick's father.
Fatima's getting a great airing today.
And asked him would he bring down a radiator for the van.
And he was a very handy guy.
They were mechanics.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and I'll never forget, Paul says to the woman, "Who owns the garage?" She says, "Oh, my son." He says, "But he let us into it to fix it." "Oh, no, it's Sunday."
I love this.
Wouldn't let you in Sunday.
That's terrible.
So we were waiting, we hadn't a shilling. We had the price, there was a shop just off the pub. So we were sitting eating toffees.
Rock and roll, baby! Rock and roll!
Wrote a song called Toffee.
Platforms are killing us. And we are sitting and we are waiting and we are waiting. And all of a sudden, that evening, it was getting dark. Paul's father came into
Terry McCormick,
a bit of a light and we're fixing it. Now, we couldn't go onto the gig. What we done was we went in and rang the manager, so he sent someone else down to the gig. We waited and waited. We couldn't do anything. So it was the next day we had to sleep in the van. First time I slept with 2 women.
Here you go, every club.
Congratulations.
And 4 fellas.
Happened once.
But the next day we couldn't go back, and we were playing in Dublin that night. It was about Monday. And we went to play in Dublin. And we're on the stage in a wine bar. And the flares and the crease.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Great sight.
And at the end of it, we were absolutely bollocksed. And we said at the end, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from Guys and Dolls. So we see you all again. It's over now to your DJ." Do you know who the DJ was?
Who?
Pat Kenny.
Pat Kenny of RTE fame.
Yeah. He was a young fella.
Who did the Late Late Show after Gay Born?
Yeah.
But there was always fun in bands with girls, but there was one that I didn't like.
Now,
and this was one.
We have to be very, very. Where am I looking?
No. It's very. I hope. He
tells a great story. He'll tell you off camera.
I hope. I hope Cora Turner is watching. But
enlighten us, please.
It was during the summer. We were doing summer gigs, but we had to get back to Dundalk to go to work. So we were playing, I think it was Cork one night, and we were heading back to Dundalk. Now, we would have arrived back in Dundalk at 7:30, so you had to be in the work for 8. So you,
7 in the morning?
yeah, in the hell.
And then, okay, good.
Well, at the time I had. So anyway, we were heading down, and myself, Ian McKevin, and the roadies, Jimmy Byrne, we walked in the same place. And Paul McCormick says, he was walking in, you remember Smith's garage?
Yeah.
The road. He says, listen, you 3 need to get asleep because you're going to have to go in the road. So I went into the back of the van and I fell asleep out for the count. But I had to stop in my house, in the mother's house to get the sandwiches for work. And I walked in the door and I never forget it. She says, oh, holy fucking Jesus. I says, what's wrong? You're not one of them, are you? I said, what are you fucking on about? She says, look in the mirror. All lipstick, everything fucking bastards.
That was some image.
Oh, you want to fucking see me get into work? I had to get it off.
That was the 1970s. You're not one of them.
Oh, yeah. No, they didn't. She
What,
didn't.
them?
She didn't say no.
knows.
Them nowadays. She says, "Oh, you're not one of them Nancy boys, are you?" But I never.
Even Nancy can't say lesbian.
Yeah.
She had one over there. The one auntie. Can't say it.
But great fun days. But now, like,
seriously,
you would have everything at hand now. Like we had to. We had to play. Do you remember that? You know your earphones.
You had so much experience because of so many venues.
Oh yeah, there was lots of it. Like we played in the Irish club in Liverpool, and the stage is actually, can you see me? It's that height from the floor, and you imagine someone there.
And on platforms.
Yeah, and then
Getting hard to breathe.
and then people saying, "Excuse me, do you know James Condy?" No. He said, "No." Do you know Farmer Jack? I said, "No, I don't know that." Why? I said, "I don't know. I can sing it." I said, "Well, you come up and sing it." And they go, "Farmer Jack to the king."
Get on that stage.
Oh, it was serious. Yeah.
So, boys, what's up next apart from the gigs on St. Patrick's Day out in Cooley?
Record.
Yeah, we're
music,
trying to get
music.
recording more. Yeah, we have a couple of gigs.
Where do you do your recording?
Singles?
Well, we're looking to experiment at the minute. We've got one of our good friends is that he's trying to get into the whole kind of production side, so we're going to give him a hand and see what he can do. Yeah. That kind of job, and if he enjoys doing it, it soes good.
But does he have a space, a studio space?
Yeah.
And an editing suite, and he has stuff.
He's got that.
Oh man, yeah,
He's set up. He's
do him a favour.
Yeah.
You know.
There you go.
Give him something to work with.
Well, yeah. Absolutely, that's great. So you've written all your stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
So who's the writer?
It's all kind of split between.
Really?
The first couple.
Yeah.
But
lyrics wise.
who's the lyricist?
Kind of between me and Jack, I'd say.
Right, you're the lyricist, and then you get together and put the sound together. Well, obviously, you have in your head.
Then we just jam. It's just start
It comes
going
out
stuff in.
eventually. It will come
It
out.
usually comes from one of us and throw a riff into the group chat or something, and then we'll say, "Oh, I have some lyrics. We'll try to put them together." And then if it sounds good, then it sounds good. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
We
people throwing
formed
together.
at the RDS, the second song we performed, Red Hand. I think we
Yes.
played the day before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were
Days
practicing.
before.
Yeah.
So we
practicing it
played
in
our
the
song
background.
Red Hand. It's not on Spotify.
What's the title of that number? Leave. What's it? You're making me nervous.
Don't take your
Don't
time.
take your time.
Sorry, I was tapping again. Could you hear it? What's it called? Don't take your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great number.
What is
Great number.
when you wrote the song Red Hand? What was it about? It's obvious.
It's not about unions before you ask.
Oh,
It's
It's not about the red.
we get that quite a bit.
it's
It's
not.
not about that. It's someone getting
my
caught out.
girlfriend.
Or the Tyrone football team or something.
Being caught red-handed.
He got
Oh,
red
yeah.
hand. That's what it is. No, my girlfriend told me that before gigs, like, you need to say that this isn't about you because people will think that.
yeah.
And I was like, no, they won't.
They will.
Just for bands, we're going to sing a nation once again.
Yeah.
But come here. So the title doesn't come first, obviously.
Never.
And then you listen to the lyrics, you feel that, and then you go, if it's in this, yeah, okay.
Like, there's still songs that we have that we don't have a title for.
We have a song called Drop These.
It's not called Drop These.
Just because it's in the tune and don't drop the.
Yeah.
You tune your guitar.
Yeah, that won't read lyrically, won't it not?
No, it has to be changed. It will be changed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. That's just what we call it. Just
Yeah,
one.
But as of now, it's called Drop the.
Working title.
There you go.
Working
Yeah.
title.
The working
But
title.
it's been a working title.
C sharp.
for a long time.
Well, a lot of things are
It's
working
called a C
titles.
sharp.
There you go. That's it.
Excellent. So, music production you're studying. And lads, what are you thinking about for are you going to go second, third level, or
I'm in college.
And what are you studying? What, Jack? What are you
I'm
doing?
in DKT for audio music production.
Oh, man. Right, okay.
They've great facilities up there.
Yeah, college.
Brilliant.
Where are you in college?
Diffie, Drogheda. So
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
Fashion design.
Yeah.
Excellent.
so it's like a year pre-portfolio course, and then you get your portfolio and send it off to different colleges. But like, I do the work, but like, I'm not focused on fashion as much as I was, because like I've always been into music, and this band
This is- yeah.
just, like,
We got the
Okay.
merch sorted now. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But you see, you can design the merch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? And get an extra cup for it. Yeah. You get one fit and designer.
Nah, it's all equally split.
Yeah,
no one's better.
No, when you design it.
Oh yeah, you design it. It is yours to be fair.
Yeah. You design it, we
Speaking
can
of,
sign
do
it
you
up.
have management yet?
No,
Not as yet.
We have a
The Osiris Mummies.
we have a group chat.
Yeah, shout out to Osiris Mommies, by the
The
way.
mods.
The mommagers.
The mothers.
All right.
So that's them, yeah.
The mummagers.
Yeah.
The mommagers. The mommagers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you think there's enough facilities? I mean, as in, there was one time there was going to be a music school for young musicians, and a lot of things fell. There was about 50,000 euros spent on equipment,
I remember that.
and everything. The arse fell out of it, and the equipment still, I believe, it's in the town
Was
hall.
there a studio back in the day in Dundalk?
Is there not somewhere in DKIT that there's a musical
There's
thing-
studios and
studio?
There is studios.
The old Carol's building.
Yeah,
But it's not so much
Oh,
a
yeah.
studio in it.
Yeah, but do you see the old Carol village? It's a Carol village.
it's the
Carol's
Carol.
building.
Extended campus.
Well, it's a coincidence because you know the old Carol factory, the one in Church Street.
Yeah.
Well, when you walk in those gates, if you look up, that's where the music school was going to be.
The old engine room.
Yeah. And what happened was,
Remember that actually.
I was on a committee back in the 80s, and they spent 50,000 euro on equipment.
In the 80s.
That was
Ooh.
drums, amps, everything. And it's laying now in the dead man's cell in the town hall.
Ridiculous.
All just wrapped up. But it'd be obsolete now. It'd be, don't know what was. Oh, it wouldn't be
Useless.
There is a music school in Dundalk though now, up at
The
don't know
old
what the-
brewery.
No, not.
No.
Is it down on Coast Road then?
Yeah, down the
Yeah.
Queens Road. I studied guitar there for
Yeah,
years.
there's a couple of places.
Is that at Patricia Duffy's place? No.
Patricia has a school of music.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what it is.
There's
It's-
one in
there?
Black Rock.
Yeah, it is.
She,
I
she
think she was up the
teaches
old
piano.
brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, my
So
own
lovely lady.
my own granddaughter studied piano down there. It's in the old Rawson's factory down there, shoe
Yeah.
factory.
Oh, so it was
And,
fine.
well,
But
I think it was the brewery.
Sean's dad, which was my uncle, and my father played as well. They were musicians as well. So they would have come from the 40s, 50s, 60s. Then we went from the 70s, 80s. So it's in the family, you know.
yeah.
And my mother was on the fiddle too. But
There's a joke there somewhere else.
And your daddy was on the harp.
but there was, you know, there wasn't an opportunity like you have today. You know, when we did get a chance, like people wouldn't. I remember going to a bar in Dundalk here and asking for a gig, and they said no. I mean, it was very, very disappointing. And me after making my own posters. And
When was this?
It was in.
When you were a kid?
Yeah, it was
Young.
Last week.
Last week.
I was 16, and that's why we done. I won't mention any names, but we done an album years ago. All the bands in Dundalk for the plight in Kosovo, and I remember going to a couple of radio stations and giving them. And we went to Dublin and everything, and nothing was ever played. And I remember saying, if there was only a radio station in Dundalk to give people a chance to be heard. And just then I was working with Cultus Cultori. It's an Irish, promoting Irish music. And I got a phone call one day. No, it wasn't. No, we were sitting it was on one of those CE schemes. And the girl, the manager, says to me, you have to go on an interview. You were sent on real interviews to see how you react. I think I went as a brain surgeon in one of them. They didn't give it any. But
Thank God.
I was sent to this one in Dundalk Media Centre. This actually happened. I was in and there was about 10 people in. I'm sitting there waiting and we went in. I was taken into this interview. There was 3 fellas. I was 2 or 3. And they went on about this media centre and all that. And then they said to me, what if you were going to do something for kids in entertainment? What would you do? I said, well, there was a festival. You remember our St. Patrick's Day parade was coming up. Yeah. And I says, well, if I was putting a float out for Dundalk Media Centre, I'd put young musicians on it. And I said, oh, great. So I just left anyhow. I was going down the street and my Nokia rang. And it was the manager of Dundalk FM. He says, you're after just bypassing the interview in front of everyone. Would you start next week?
Yeah.
Sounded good to you.
At the time, you had to be 3 years unemployed or either on a scheme and 2 years unemployed. Now, I was unemployed for 2 years, or on a scheme, unemployed for 2 years, yeah. And I said, no, I can't take the job. He says, oh, it's okay. We sorted it out. And that was 20 years ago.
And he was 65 then.
But I got the opportunity now, as you can hear in the mornings, to play independent Irish artists.
To get that opportunity is great.
You know,
that's the point.
It's great.
I must say that we really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it does. It does, because if you listen to some of the stuff that I play in that section, if I wasn't to mention it was Irish independent, you would think they were international stars. It's just unbelievable. It just blow you away.
The reason why Paddy's mentioned this is because he wants a shout out when you're in Wembley.
And he's going to get that.
What do you mean shout out? I'd be fucking at it.
VIP access. VIP access.
No, you will. But you have to have, you know, there has to be, it's no use, as I said to Paddy Goodwin here, you can do a CD, you can have an album, the whole lot, and sit at home and put it on. But when somebody comes on the radio and mentions your name and says something about it, it's completely different, you know. Because not only are you listening to it, there's a lot of people in radio when you're training people, and that is, if there's a person listening to you, there's at least 10 people around them. Do you know what I mean? It could be a factory.
Social media must play a great part in this.
Oh, it's great.
To be able to get stuff out.
Like as we said earlier, like we haven't even been a band like a full year, but it's coming up to a year anyways. But we nearly have like 1,000 followers,
which is just
brilliant.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's well done, lads.
You see, in our day, we had to do band photographs and send them all over Ireland. It cost you a fortune. And then there used to be a magazine called a Spotlight. If there was an interview done with us, we'd go out and buy all the magazines. You know,
I was in that.
Yeah. You know, there was all this, but as Alvaro says, social media, like
great, isn't it?
Anywhere in the world.
It's so easy to get around these days. Like I think about that sometimes, like some of the bands back in the day, and it's like they didn't have just
that.
this instant where they could just share their music to whoever wanted to see it. You know
Anywhere.
We were looking at the analytics on Spotify, like the countries that have listened to us.
People listening to us in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Cambodia was the one across Canada and everything.
Yeah.
Our top 5 countries, I think, are like it's Ireland, UK 1 and 2, and then third is USA, and I think it's Canada and Germany.
Yeah.
Australia. It's Australia.
It's all over the place now.
But English-speaking countries first, and then Germany.
But
It's going to be as big as David Hasselhoff.
No,
brilliant. You'll be the biggest as Hoff. So good.
I wish.
Oh, wieder.
But isn't there a
we
good...
were half as handsome. Only we were half as
Stop it now.
Isn't
So look at us, we're gorgeous, we're on the radio.
Yeah.
Waste.
I had to put us on.
I'm sure you hear that you have faces for radio a lot now, lads.
Oh, definitely.
Great face
that
for radio,
all started something similar to what I was telling you, because there was a show on the radio called Magic Moments, and Lord rest him, Joe Martin used to do it, and Mary Wallace. And Joe and Mary were retiring, but I would have been brought up the same as Sean and Alvaro with this type of music we play every Sunday. And I decided to do the show, and someone says to me, sure, I'll help you out, but they're not what you call radio friendly. So I says, I have a guess, but I hadn't. And I went down to Sean in the boutique, and I said, would you do it? He says, yeah. I went in, and then that was it. How long are you there now?
We done it. He said to me, would you come down? I'm starting a new show. Would you come down and just bring your type of music you play, just for, come in at 11. It's only for about an hour, right? And I said, no bother. So I'd be into this Dean Martin, all that sort of stuff, you know. And, but anyway, met Paddy down there. I said, Gran, he said, we're on now at 11 o'clock, Gran. So anyway, So things went very well that day, and then he was saying was, he says, thanks very much to Ciaran for coming in this morning, and he'll be back next week. But I didn't sign up to anything. I didn't say, that was just an hour for me, and that was me.
How many years ago was that?
I don't know what.
That was kind of like
must
you
be
came
10.
into the band. We just kind of gave him a right-handed acoustic guitar with
Who
a
were the
drum bass on
originals?
that.
Who were the originals?
Us four, and there was another chap that used to play the bass.
Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh.
Right, Josh. Hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
Josh, if a bass for sale, you want?
And then
He's right-handed as well. We like that. He's right-handed.
So just get back to the story,
Go
lads.
on,
So
go on.
anyway, that. So every week since then, I
And then
there.
Sean was away.
I was on holidays, and
was on
Paddy was
holiday.
there on his own. So
I got a phone call from him. He says, I listen to you every morning, and Sean's now, do you mind if I join you? And the rest is history.
Push me in.
Can't get rid of him.
Show John Mayer.
But it's good fun, you know. There's people like it.
it's a bit of banter, good music, and some laughs.
Absolutely.
That's all.
The music is good.
You're right.
Do you
Recipe for a good time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you talk to your audience when you're on stage?
A lot, yes.
I do a lot. I do
Yeah.
a lot.
He's the best waffler.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
People like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They really, really do.
Yeah.
Don't seem to think so.
I know it's
No,
all
but
part
they
of
do.
it.
You can't see it because you're saying, right, what's the next number? Set us up, get it going.
Yeah.
The lights are
And yeah, but the
because-
audience like that. They like that connection.
Yeah.
Because it's not a recording; it's live.
Yeah, because we used to do the same in the show band days. You'd have a BL and an MC,
What's a BL?
a band leader,
Oh, an MC master ceremonies, right? Okay. Yeah.
and a master of ceremonies, and there was always someone that spoke. I was very shy.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just don't see it. No, I just don't.
I was, but I seen one night that if you be if
You
you.
fuck up. You were. What did you fall your head or something?
I know it was.
You come out of a
I
coma.
was a very shy person.
Fuck.
But I remember, I just thought by an old musician telling me, he says, you have to realise there's people come in to a pub, you're playing, their troubles are gone for 2 hours. He says, and you have to make
Very
them
much. That's
feel.
true.
It is, and it's
very,
that's
very
why.
true.
Now I play here every Saturday night,
And that's what you're doing as artists.
and it just.
That's
what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
You know-
After they're like, that was fucking good.
Yeah. That's what you're doing.
But isn't it a great feeling to know when someone lifts their hands and starts clapping?
Yeah.
Isn't that a lovely feeling?
I think
When someone sings their song as well, that was
man.
huge. That was
When
huge.
our most recent gig at the Spirit Store, like how many days has it been since then?
I know, it's
Only a couple,
Saturday.
like last Saturday, like we were playing and
How did that go, by the way, lads?
unbelievable.
Just
best gig,
amazing.
Really?
There was a couple
I
of
think
things.
so.
There was a couple of
Yeah.
things like technically wise.
There always will be.
Right.
Yeah.
but-
You just learn
Yeah,
moves.
of course.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
we kept doing them.
in
Literally
my,
just
see,
kept
in
moving.
my head, I was like, "Oh, we played terrible." But then everyone that was coming up to me and like all the band saying that after I knew that the fans loved it, or like the people that come in, like I don't want to say fans. That's weird.
You have to.
But don't
As
forget,
long as they're happy.
but don't forget,
Audience number one.
Yeah.
If you're
Audience
charging or they're paying or you're performing, you're nothing without an audience. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Without
we're
the
just
audience.
forgetting, though, lads, you're your worst critic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You think, oh, geez, I'm after doing bad there.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I.
But realistically speaking, it's normal.
It's
normal.
it's healthy. It's normal. It's healthy because the biggest thing is to control ego. You know, but and let that energy, that nervous energy, go forward in performance. You
But
know?
To be honest, I
I've seen myself playing many a night, and you thinking shit. That nothing went right.
You mostly are.
And then
The people are too kind.
And then
You're so
someone
long
coming
at
up-
it, they're afraid of offending.
and then
you.
someone coming up to you and putting a hand.
Listen, wait to tell you. How
shit.
could you possibly think when you have the floor full?
No, but
Seriously, when they're fun, they're looking at it going, "Hey, you Paddy, man." Seriously, and that's just the blokes.
There's a few stories I can't tell you, but
They'd be lovely. Learn to play the guitar and everything.
but then someone always says, Jesus, you were brilliant tonight. I thought it was shite. But a lot of things do happen. Now I use backing tracks now because I'm on my own.
Yeah.
But I'm doing stuff.
Too miserable to play a
That's
band.
it, fucking right. But I have great fun. I always say we're going to introduce you to the band now. That's Microsoft. That's Apple.
Windows.
But
Are you using
it's-
Apple?
no, sometimes. But it's as Sean says, never criticize yourself because you're producing a talent. You're sharing your talent, your bedroom talent, whatever.
But I think a bit of self-criticism is important because you check yourself, you double check yourself.
I think that whole...
You don't go on saying I was brilliant, I was fantastic when you're stoned off your head.
But you're out to tell me I was great. Now you're telling me I'm not.
No, but you know what I mean. Of course, you have to have faith in what you're doing because you're presenting. But you cannot at any point come over and say, that was fucking brilliant. You know, I'm absolutely wonderful. Because there's always points that, well, you know, that could have been, you know, and just you tweak all the time. And there's no harm in that. There's definitely harm in that.
I think if genuinely, if one of the boys' egos were too high, they'd get heavily criticised by the rest of us for it.
It's just you come down.
Literally sitting there looking up at him on his high horse, you know what I mean? Like,
But see, that's the beauty of being Irish. We're going to knock you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying.
Keep you in your place. Yeah.
You're never too famous for Dundalk anyway.
Yeah, you see. Keeps you genuine. And about like being like about gigs and all, we used to be so nervous going on stage. But ever since we played a gig in Drogheda, alright, nothing's changed. Ever since we played a gig in Drogheda and we were told that sound check is at what, like
we were told to be there at 1 o'clock
for sound check.
Sorry, what time was the gig at?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. So they were like, be here at 1, we'll get you all
So
set
how
up.
many bands were playing?
There's about 4 or 5 maybe.
To be honest, I'd say we were
like
probably
a festival kind of thing.
the only ones that had someone that was over the age of 18. I think we were the only band.
It was in like a youth club kind of thing.
Okay.
It wasn't like a youth club, but it was that kind of
Boys,
thing.
I can't wait to read the memoirs. It's really wonderful.
So we were meant to be there. We were told to be there at 1. So we got there at 1. They're like, oh, you don't need to be here till like 6 o'clock.
They were like,
and we were like, oh, class. So what do we do in Drogheda for like 6 hours? So we went to a pub.
Shout out Hole in the Wall.
Hole in the Wall, probably the best pub we've ever been at.
Just was amazing.
Unbelievable.
So what'd you do?
We sat there and we ate pizza, drank.
And then we went on stage, half cut, and it was probably the best gig we've ever done.
No. That's like driving a car drunk and saying, "Good, and I take that corner really well." You didn't. Trust me, you didn't.
It was.
I take from somebody who performed live when drunk, and it's not. Do you really? But you're taking the piss. You don't think it was.
Oh no!
It was
terrible.
So listen, lads. Lesson learned. Don't do it.
Oh yeah.
Because I can tell you from
that was the main thing. That was the main thing.
Yeah, well, I can tell you from experience. I haven't drank in years and years, but I was playing with a band in Dublin, the K Twins, and we were playing in Kerry one night, and myself and the drummer, his name was Brian O'Driscoll, but he wasn't. He was from Kilkenny. A great drummer, great jazz.
I was going to say that's.
And we were. Well, I was told that you're only allowed a pint before you went on, and you could drink as much as you want after. But
a pint of whiskey, was it?
We done a sound check, the whole lot of them. Myself and Brian were walking around Kerry or wherever it was, whatever town we were in, and we stopped in for a couple of pints. And back on the stage to play that night, and then we were taken into the dressing room, and we were asked what fucking band we were playing with tonight. Because we thought we were brilliant. Bum notes and everything. And from that day to this, I never went to Kerry.
Having said that, when you look at the Rolling Stones and the later Beatles, when you don't see really later Beatles live, when you look at live productions of the Rolling Stones from back in the day, they were never sober.
No, it's no.
But they were so. And then somebody asked, how did they survive this long? And they did everything.
Oh, no. Did you ever hear about Oasis?
Because they owned the plantation. Oh, yeah. They weren't putting shit up their nose.
Did you ever hear
really?
about
It's like, no, sorry. I'm not advocating drugs. People, just say no, unless a really good price.
You were saying that.
Just say no. But what I'm saying though, seriously, how the fuck are these people still alive? Look at the heads of them. 117.
Keith Richards.
Off their heads. They can't remember the 60s because of quality stuff.
well, Joe Walsh does that with the Eagles. It's on a DVD. When it's in Melbourne and he goes up to the mic, he says,
"Who's this? Sorry,
Joe Walsh."
Right.
And he says, "Hi, it's great to be back and to remember it this time."
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of it. It was very.
Was that if you remember the 60s, you weren't there?
Oh.
So we're a big fan of Black Sabbath as well. So
oh well then.
So we have actually just corrected ourselves or reversed an argument there. Do not drink before you go on. The best music you've heard. They were off their heads. Yeah, forget that. Scrap that one. Cut.
A lot of bands have cleaned their act up. Like the Eagles were pretty bad with it as well.
Right.
You know, and then they cleaned their act up and it just
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Not even just but the whole scene.
Stevie Nicks, he read some of that stuff.
Situation around there was just
mental.
Yeah.
just a crazy situation, even in that band, I guess.
But there was some
Eagles.
What?
Eagles.
Yeah. There was some there was some music came out of the 60s. Like we grew up in the 60s. Well, he didn't.
Well, the tail end of it, I didn't grow up. I was born the tail end.
There was some great, like Dundalk during the 60s and 70s. Dundalk. Do you know Johnny Mason's pub?
Yeah.
That whole section, the building, that was called the Afton Club.
Was that then the Banana Club?
Yeah. And you know who played in it?
Everybody.
Maybe once a month. Tin Lizzy. You know, they were only just a 3-piece band.
Tell the lads about the Adelphi Ballroom.
The Adelphi Ballroom.
The people who played the Adelphi incredible.
Johnny Cash played there at the Adelphi Ballroom.
Johnny Cash played in Black Rock.
She's got the tickets.
In Black Rock.
I knew he was in Dundalk at some stage in his life.
Who's this Cash?
Yeah.
Roy Orbison.
Roy, do you know the Adelphi court there?
Yeah.
Up to the
I have to admit, I've seen them.
Did you see Roy Orbison?
Yeah, I was
in the Adelphi.
Yes.
What do you remember, Sean?
Just how the way he looked, you know.
But you knew him. You knew of him.
I knew, of course, I knew who he was. Yeah.
Well, I remember going to Roy Orbison in the Adelphi, and we were there early. But the reason we were there
because he'd see you.
They had techs, drum techs, and all that.
What does that mean? Explain that.
These are the guys that tune you guitar.
All right, okay.
But you want to hear these guys playing, and we were amazed. And then Roy Orbison came on that night, and there was a row in the middle of the floor, and the words he said was, "When that stops, I'll start." And the row stopped. He done all his hits. See, when I was over, fucking killed him. But and then there was one.
Do you get that at your gigs?
One night. Here's one for you. Do you know the food house?
Yeah.
Well, that used to be called the Lorne Hotel. And we were in there at a dinner dance in the back. It was a shoe factory. It was only awfully at the start, and it was fucking boring. There was men there and they were talking about shoes, and we wanted no girls. You know, there was an old one sitting over in the corner. 34.
Yeah.
So I says, boys, listen, there's a band on the Adelphi, we go and see them. I said, all right, fuck it. So we went up, walked in, there was about 20, no, it was a massive ballroom, 20 people up at the stage, and these fellas on the stage in all denims and everything. And the guy that run it, I don't know his name, he was a caretaker. He came out of the side of the stage. It's a true story.
Isn't he the Adelphi, was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Dio Kane, was it?
It was Dio Kane owned it. But your man says to the boys, lads, will you play something they can fucking dance to? Do you know who that band was? Status Quo.
Whoa.
Down, deeper down.
Honest to God. Played there and Eric Clapton played in it.
My nan still has the tickets from when she saw
all the tickets.
It's serious.
And she has tickets from when I think it was Queen or the Beatles that she saw there as well, but she still has the tickets.
Yeah, well, there is a lad for the Beatles. The Beatles were coming to the Adelphi. This before they became, but there was a lot of top bands there. You know, I remember my favourite band. There were only 2 hits in the 70s, which was a band called Christie. They had Yellow River and San Bernardino.
Oh, yeah.
And I was outside, couldn't afford to get in. It was 50p at the time. And it was 10 bob to call it.
Yeah.
I remember being outside and 2 white Mercedes pulling up. And the 3 guys got out, went on stage, played their 2 hits, back in the way.
2 hits.
Single tours.
Yeah.
Just promotion.
Yeah.
Imagine that's
That'd be a quick one, yeah. Up there for 10 minutes.
And then you see what
and
we
they did several gigs that night, right?
Oh yeah, everywhere.
They'd be travelling to Monaghan and Cavan and they'd be on the road, you know, the
Just
hit.
doing the 2.
Just hit, single promotion. Hit.
And then there was a students' dance of a Tuesday night. They call it students' dance. And we all went to a Tuesday night. And there was bands from North and Dublin and that, real poppy bands. Brilliant. And then this band came on stage one night and we all left. We called it bluesy type. At the time, we were all glam rock fucking heads. And it was Tin Lizzy.
No way. Really?
Yeah, and that was...
Is that before they got the groove?
That was before 1973, 74, they had Whiskey in the Jar. And after that was it.
Yeah. There were some great bands there on the Sunday afternoon as well. Before the big show on Sunday night. Bands came down from Dublin. There was a band called one time The Young Shadows.
Yeah,
they were absolutely fabulous. Now, that music to me that time was just...
Were they sort of modeling themselves on Cliff Richard channels?
No, not really. Not really. But they're all dressed up, really dressed cool. You know what I mean? It wasn't like denims. It was kind of suits, like, you know.
There was a band, slick. You know Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
There was a band from Dublin.
Have you?
Yeah, a band from Dublin. They go on the stage and they would sing it. You want to hear it? And they'll call the Memories. Oh my God Almighty! They were just unbelievable. But there was a lot of things that you had. The Afton Club, the Badminton Club, the Club, the Skyline Club. They're all knocked down now. But there was always somewhere to go to hear a live band.
We had the Plaza.
Yeah. And the Plaza, of course. Get up them stairs, I'll give you the Plaza.
And you have the one now when you're walking around the streets of these cordless. Yeah. We had one. And I was stuck into it and then there was people around Dundalk who were deaf. They had one. So people thought we were all fucking deaf. But
like with places like what the Adelphi was and all, me and the boys would kill us. Not even just to play, just to go. Just to go.
It was amazing.
The Afton Club. Oh, where are you drinking tonight? Me and the boys are away to the Afton Club.
I think we are blessed.
Just
but when you
should be very grateful.
When you said that, Jamie,
Definitely.
You said, where are you drinking? The Afton Club. None of these clubs had drink. The Adelphi had no drink.
The Adelphi had no drink.
Dry
Nothing.
bar.
Absolutely.
Dry mineral bar.
All dry.
Mineral bar, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Take back that.
You know,
once you pay 10 shillings in, once you pay 10 shillings in for yourself and the girlfriend, you had nothing left anyway. It was half a week's wages you have to pay.
Yeah,
I wasn't. It was really expensive. It was a sprung floor. It was a maple sprung floor. So it was designed
even
for
if
dancing.
you weren't dancing, you were
literally
dancing.
sprung. Yeah, wasn't it? It was a sprung
It was
floor.
a fabulous spot, yeah.
And it was built. It was purpose built for a hop.
Yeah,
for a dance.
Where we jive.
Yeah.
And then during the festival, there was indoor football played in it.
I'm sure your nan must have had some great stories.
Oh, definitely.
You know.
Definitely.
So what's her name?
Fiona. Her maiden name's Rafferty, but she married my granddad to be Myers.
Fiona Rafferty.
Myers.
Jimmy Myers.
Jesus. Hey, Jimmy is your
my granddad.
Yeah. These are two mates.
Yeah, because he's all grew up in family.
I think you look like Janet.
Well, Janet's your mum, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you're a spitting image. Even the mustache. But
you'd bet.
Only joking, Janet. Only joking.
No, and you going on about the Beatles, that's all Joe goes on about.
It's all like we talk about going back. As Alvaro said, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. But like of a Thursday night at 7:30, there wasn't one young person on the streets.
Where were you?
Top of the Pops.
Right.
I see 8 o'clock came, you were out, and you were talking about what was number one. You never knew what was number one.
We're going to wrap up very shortly, lads. Are we?
Yeah, I know where you're sitting with.
Joy, I just want to go back to what you were saying there, and it's sort of linked to Top of the Pops. When you hear people who come to see you, or audience members, and they begin to sing your songs.
Mad.
It's a mad feeling.
And there was a music show on BBC. Do you remember the old Grey Whistle Test?
Oh, yeah.
The old Grey Whistle Test was what's his name?
Barry something.
Whistling Bob.
Yeah, Bob
Harris.
Bob Harris.
Yeah.
And the last refuge of an old punk is country and western. So he's gone that way with the BBC. But the old Grey Whistle Test was a music show. The New York Dolls were featured in it, premiered.
The Ramones, the whole lot.
And the old Grey Whistle Test comes from the term that the technicians on the BBC were in the theatre, the sound theatres, when a song was being played or a performance was enacted.
Yeah.
If these guys started whistling your tune, it had a hook.
Right.
And if these old guys in the grey coats started whistling your tune, it was a hit. Nice. Because if it had a hook for the ear on somebody passing by, it would sell. So it was always called, if you got the old grey whistle test, like your crowd, like your people, singing your songs.
Yeah, that's what
that's it.
Have an opinion that say our songs are earworms. That's come up with a couple of people.
Earworms. They're there.
I think we have a good chance of that.
Yeah. I think I like we all kind of agreed that when we first made, like, we didn't really like playing Don't Take Your Time before we recorded it because it was like a slow song and we loved playing fast tunes. But then when it got proper mixed and recorded and we were listening to
but you have all of the tempo though, haven't you? From live studio,
But I remember even when we first played the song, I was like, that chorus of like, oh, you sang.
Please don't take your time. It's
like,
lovely.
Tanya, play it. It's the EP's out. It's terrific.
Is there an album in the future?
Oh, the next couple months.
Yeah, we have it. Like,
Paddy Mac, we have got so much more coming. We've got so much more coming.
You have no time to play anything.
Who are you going to get to record that now?
Well,
the LP.
We're between the fella we were on about earlier. We're between him and Pillowhead.
There's a lot of actual other people.
Who's Pillowhead?
Talking to us now, and there's a lot of kind of like.
Who's Pillowhead?
People coming from everywhere.
Shout out, Cabbage is all in the production. It's there. Obviously, you have it, but it's the tweaking. You know this. Of course, you know this. It's getting the optimum out of the ability. Excellent.
Yeah, we were so happy with that.
Excellent.
So. We're just kind of trying to see about getting with other people and see what it's like to work with some other people and see what kind of other sounds we can get.
Get the influences, get the influences together.
Finding it ourselves.
So look at
going into music.
Lads, thanks so much. Come here, can I just ask you?
Yeah.
Do you have? It's probably I'm going to say it anyway.
Go for it.
As a band, as a collective, do you have a mission statement? What do you want from the band? Obviously, you want to produce great music. You want to be understood and appreciated and make a couple of bob. But what would be your mission statement? What's going forward?
If you're coming to see us, come and have a good fucking time. That's
That's the one, isn't it? That's the audience. Well done, kiddo.
At the end of the day, people are paying their hard-earned money to come see us play, so we might as well make them few hours.
I think it was a great point there.
But in long term, like we fame, like the massive fame and money would be class to have. But if we could make a steady living off this, we've cheated the system.
We're paying a real job.
We're playing music.
This boy knows this terribly well.
At the end of the day, we're just five best mates playing music together.
I'm working very hard doing it. So
we're
going to see it along.
But
the point is that you're not just.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
But the point is that you can enjoy yourselves, but you're letting everybody else in. I've seen so many performances.
This shouldn't even be a thing.
It's a hobby that's going way too far.
We did not plan to go on this song. It was just like off the feedback that we got. We were like, we have to do more.
Everything that we did.
And you learned the guitar to get into the band. So you can gather people that were musicians. Like, I want to come in, give him a guitar quick.
No, he was our mate. He had nothing to do with music. We were like, just get in.
He was our friend that didn't play. We had a different bass player.
And the funny thing was, Dylan used to be the drummer because he played drums for 2 years. I played guitar for 7 years, and he made Enchantress. And I was like,
did you pen that?
The chords are on me.
Lyrics.
Us.
Bit of both of us,
It's a great song.
I remember
it's a great song, lads.
But Dylan was teaching me and Ciaran to play it, and I turned around to him. I was like, "Man, if you're just gonna make all the guitar, why don't you just be the guitarist and I'll pick up drums?"
That was the day before the first Barrel Store gig.
And it was like we've been taking all these risks.
Seriously,
I guess so.
We just take all these risks and all it works.
Do you know what we need? A bassoon. That's what we need. And a violin. What about tambourine? A true jack and triangle. That's it.
Jack's learning saxophone.
That's
on recording now, so you have
you pick up the most easy instrument. Well done, kiddo.
So what do you boys rehearse anyway when you're not playing?
This dude's his garage.
And it's all kind of full of shit. I just kind of put it aside and I have a drum kit in the corner and I got 2 amps and they walk.
How's the acoustics? How's the sound back for you?
Terrible. I have a garage door, and whenever we're playing, you can hear it from down the street.
But we haven't got any complaints, so we're fine.
No, I'm not talking about complaints. I'm talking about hearing yourselves back in a proper. But not a studio space, proper space.
I'm sure this day and age, when they used to say years ago, I wonder where that child of mine is. But you can always hear when a musician is. But there is, like when you were talking, I started off, I was a drummer.
Yeah.
My original was a drummer. Then I went on to rhythm guitar. There were so many rhythm guitar players in the 70s. I went on to become the lead singer. Then I became the lead guitarist. And then we were playing one night, and there was myself on guitar, a girl on guitar, a fella singing, and a drummer. And someone says, you should learn how to play the bass. And I said, no, the reason I didn't learn it was too expensive in those days. Like, you had to buy an 18-inch speaker, not like nowadays. Yeah. Like, I have a bass amp at home. It's a Fender, based on the old.
Is it one of the wee training ones, or is it one of the, like,
no, it's a
Rumble? Like one of the, is it a Rumble?
No, it's a Telly something. It's a 300 one.
Right, yeah.
But I couldn't afford them.
Bass nerds.
And in 1977, on a St. Stephen's night, I was only married a year. I was still happy. But
just about.
Pauline, he's joking.
I was living in Green Acres, and I was myself and my wife were in the house. We'd no kids. Oh God, they were great days. But we'd no kids, and her aunt, Lord Ressa, was living across the road. She came back from America, and we went over to have a Christmas St. Stephen's night party. And a knock came to the door, and it was Joe Duffy. And Joe says, can you play bass? I says, yeah, but I couldn't. He says, because we were playing at a big dance tonight out in the old Border Inn, and the bass player, his son, is taken in the hospital with appendix, and he had to go. And I went, I remember from a bar chord that your little finger on the top of yours were your nuts. That's all I remember. And when one of the boys shouted up what I was singing, they say it's in G. I would play the bar G on the bass to find out where I was. I played the whole night, hadn't a fucking clue what I was playing. And I just said,
yeah, I've had that a couple of times. I've done the same.
I just said, that's it.
Just be creative.
That's
the early days.
That's what I want to play. So a bass player is known as a frustrated lead player.
I couldn't take the job. These boys.
Well, listen, we want to thank Osiris for coming into us tonight.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
It's lovely.
And listen, the best of luck. It always takes a bit of luck, but you don't need much luck because it's there. It's getting better. It's growing. Fair play, lads.
But always, it's always.
Tell your nanny, Fiona. I said hello. Yeah.
Tell all your mother for them.
Of course, your branded Jimmy as well. You know.
Oh yeah.
But listen, just whatever you have, keep doing it because it's excellent.
Just quickly now, May 20th, we're going to be back in the Spirit Store. We're going to be opening for the OWELS 84. And if any of you come out and listen,
I featured.
Yeah, he's in the video of our
He's not you. Look at the fat head in me. Yeah. It's the best part of me behind me. Yeah, it is actually. I was in a pop music video.
What day is that?
May 20th.
Excellent.
And you should
stream Street Noise on Spotify.
Yeah, and you should take a leaf out of Orwell's 84's book and get a GoFundMe page for the album.
I don't know.
We already asked people for too much money.
Yeah, we asked for a lot of stuff already.
No, I'm not talking about your parents. I'm talking about other people.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Well, listen, lads, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
As I say, you'll always be played on Dundalk FM. It's great music, and it's great to be able to say, we knew them boys.
Well, Paddy, there's plenty more music coming for you.
I know. I'm waiting. I will have to get you into the live slot.
Yeah, that'd be great, crowd. Do that.
Don't worry, your VIP tickets for Wembley Stadium are paying.
See that? He said me, he didn't say you.
How you doing? I might be carrying the gear for them.
No, you're in the video, but this time you're in the video, but this time they want you walking.
Shut up. Say goodbye. Good night. I have to go to work.
It's goodbye from me, Paddy Mac.
And goodbye from Sean McInerney.
And goodbye from Alvaro Casey. And
goodbye from Osiris, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
And Chris, God bless you.
Yeah, for putting up with us there.
Some fucking shit.
Are we wrapped? I have to go. Fuck it, come on, I have to go to work. Let me out.